thanks so much for joining us on TBC this morning. And firstly, a big congratulations to what you and your team have achieved. Getting a 9-year-old to be cancer-free now thanks to this new therapy. I firstly want to understand, there are so many questions really that's running on our minds. But the most important one that ensures effectiveness of this is bringing the cost down from 4 crores to just under 50 lakh now. How did you make that possible?
Well, when we started out, this therapy was still not approved, and there was no price tag to it. So that's when Dr. Rahul and we met in 2015. We realized that whenever it comes, it's going to be very expensive, and the only way that we could keep the cost down is if we did it ourselves in India. And really, the key to keeping the cost down is because it was completely researched first in Dr. Rahul's lab, and then the developmental work which we did after that. That know-how cost is the key to keeping the cost low. So, so I think in a nutshell that would be the answer. There are many more things to it, obviously, and that is where my collaborator Dr. Rahul Purwar has established ImmunoAct, the company. So that's on the business side of things, where you could get more clarity about how the cost can be kept down. But the key is having the know-how on our own and manufacturing it from scratch in India is what has kept the cost down.
Right. Right. Doc, one question that comes to mind after having understood the whole process here is that it is a ray of hope for so many cancer patients across India. But how do you identify, or if for those watching right now, how do they know if they're eligible for this therapy?
Right. So there are two things. One is cell and gene therapy as a class of therapy by itself. And the second is what we have proven and established and got approval for it right now. So right now, the approval has come for one particular type of disease, that is B-cell leukemias and lymphomas.
Okay.
So any organ in the body can become cancerous. But when the B cells, which are part of the immune system of the body, when they become cancerous, this particular therapy, which has been developed right now, is directed against B cells only. It can recognize the antigen on B cells and kill them. So now, and right now it is approved, B cell leukemia and lymphomas also have got standard therapies available for them. So most of them, they are considered curable with chemotherapy, and maybe some of them require some additional therapy. But if they relapse, then they require transplants. And some of them don't respond even to that, or not eligible for transplant. That is where this particular therapy works. So where nothing else has been working, the CAR T-cell therapy has shown efficacy in relapsed and refractory B-cell leukemias and lymphomas.
Right. So if I were to understand this in Asan Bhasha for our viewers, it would basically be that if you, blood cancers, those who are suffering from that, and those that involve the B cell, that typically is what will get you to the CAR therapy. And it's not just a Tata Memorial. This is now a commercially available therapy that can be attained in other hospitals across the country as well.
Yes, absolutely. So we were part of the development process. So the initial clinical trials were done in Tata Memorial Hospital. But once the commercial approval has to be applied for, the company ImmunoAct has done the multi-center trial, and after that they've got the commercial approval. So now ImmunoAct is ready to give it to any hospital which has the capability of giving this therapy. So every patient all across the country can now get it, and we are happy to see our baby now. We are happy to see our baby now out into the world.
Right. A lot has been written globally about the side effects of CAR therapy. What are you seeing in clinical trials that have been conducted in India on our gene pool?
So the clinical trial data, and I will talk about that, but is publicly available because the rest is still some part of it is still in development. This product can cause side effects. Two major side effects are cytokine release syndrome, which occurs directly because these are immune cells which release a lot of cytokines, which are killing the cancer cells. And these can cause fever, high-grade fever, low blood pressure, low oxygenation, And the first few patients which were treated in the world often ended up in the ICU, and many still do. But they have treatments available for that, and they can be handled. And they almost we expect everybody to recover from them. So this is what is known about this class of products. But as far as our particular product was concerned, we found it to be exceptionally safe. We have not had a single child going into the ICU for cytokine release syndrome. Of course, from the worldwide experience, we also know how to manage these earlier and better, so we don't allow that situation to develop. Another toxicity, which is known as neurotoxicity, and neurotoxicity can occur in nearly one-third of these patients. It is reversible, but it is a very distressing side effect. But in our product, which we have seen over here in the trials and what has been given out so far also, neurotoxicity is almost completely absent. Almost completely absent, I say, because we hardly see it at all. And where we have, there have been other factors which have contributed to it. So this is, it has been proven to be exceptionally safe. But the third thing is also there. It's a new therapy, and they can be medium to long-term effects, which we do not know about as of now. So that is something which we still have to see down the line, and it's going to require evolution. Now, in the US FDA, they have reported that some of these patients have gone on to develop, second cancers. It's very, very low percentage, less than 0.008% or something, out of some 12 or 18 cases out of some 20,000 patients who have received it. But and we don't know yet whether it has been caused by this. But there is, that we need to know more data. However, I will say very clearly over here, before any scaremongering occurs on this issue, that the class of patients that we are using it in are those in whom there is really no therapy available. So first you need to respond to that therapy, and these are fatal disorders. So first they need to respond to that therapy, and if they are going to live long enough, only then we'll know whether there is a possibility of something else happening down the line. Yeah.
I see. My next question, Doc, is on at what stage of cancer is this therapy most effective? What have, again, your trials shown you so far?
Yes. So what happens is that it's a new, when you develop a new drug, safety, ethical concerns, and everything else included ensures that we first try it in patients where really nothing else is working, because that's where you want to show it first. That is good, and it's also challenging, because what happens is that, of course, it's good in the sense that that is obviously we should try it in patients with all lines of therapy have failed. The challenging part is that when nothing else is working, how do you expect a new drug to work? So, given this situation, when you get dramatic responses like we have with this class of drug, the hope arises that it can be used earlier in the therapy. Why wait till the end of the line? You can use it earlier and earlier. But that requires clinical trials to do, where we need to compare this therapy with the available therapy and see, instead of chemotherapy, if we give CAR-T, how's it going to work? But those answers will come out over time. This is still a very new therapy.
Let's talk about the latest scam in town. We all know that what a physical arrest really is. God forbid any of us actually ends up there. But what exactly is a digital arrest? We'll tell you that over the next couple of minutes. Now, it's the latest cyber fraud where criminals now impersonate to be police officers and make you believe that you have been implicated in a very serious case on a very serious charge. They will create a sense of urgency, a sense of fear. They might pick up a piece of information, a personal ID might be, that might be available publicly, and play along with that. And then they start weaving a story of claims made by that personal ID of yours involved in various legal activities, or to say it could be money laundering, it could be a lot of other cases as well. These criminals then make you and I, the victims, believe that you will be arrested if you don't agree to their demands. And then these perpetrators use very, very sophisticated machinery. They use IVR, they do Skype calls. They pose to be police officers sitting inside a police thana, police station. And then they will ask you, in that entire sort of set up that in case you want to get out of it, you have to pay so much money. Now, this is a true story and happening rampantly across the country. So, we had to bring you this scam alert to tell you what not to fall for. We've got a full 360 view on this story, but we'll start with Yash. My colleague Yash Goyal joins us. Hi, morning Yash.
Hi Sonal, good morning.
Some of the details that you shared with me on these cases are scary and yet so believable. It could be happening to any of us. Can you pick out one case that really popped out and that has everybody's attention?
Well, Sonal, let's talk about the very first case of digital arrest which was actually reported in India. And this case comes from Haryana's Faridabad. Can you imagine you just sitting one fine day and you get a call and somebody says you're involved in human trafficking? So this actually happened with a 23-year-old girl hailing from Haryana. So basically what happened on a day like she receives a call, a Skype call from a customs officer sitting in Lucknow saying that we have found around 22 odd passports and they were being sent to Cambodia, and the postal services which was being used, your Aadhaar card was actually linked to that postal services, or at that particular point your Aadhaar card was involved in it. So that charge of human trafficking was levied on that very girl. Obviously she panicked. She wasn't aware what was happening with her.
How did they make it so believable? If I were to get a call like this, I would say, what are you saying?
So the first was the setting. The officer was sitting in a proper, like we see in movies, like we see in TV shows, how a particular setup looks like of a police station or of any CBI officer's setting. So it was in that setting. It was, she was made to believe that an authentic officer, original officer is calling her to talk about what she has done, which she hasn't done it. So basically, she also said, I'll not believe you what you're saying. I want to talk to the police. I want to get a sense exactly what I have done. So what they did, first they opened the video chat and they showed her around that there were many police officers standing right there with all the walkie-talkies.
And this entire thing is a setup.
Entire thing was a setup.
It's like a movie being created.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow.
And the more, actually, I'll not say the funny part, but what happened was she asked that I want to talk to a police officer there because she was not able to believe that these are custom officers. So, those people directed that call to a police station and that was a fake one. So that entire setup was done, and what's more baffling, she was digitally arrested for 17 straight days. That was the...
1 second. Digitally arrested meaning?
So what happens, like you broke down for us, like what digital arrest is.
So you're on the Skype call.
You're on a Skype call. What the person on the other, the fraudster, they ask you to keep on your video all the time, except if you want to use your washroom or if you want to go meet your family. For that also you need to take their permission. And what they say, if you mute that call when your video is also shut, they'll directly send an officer to your home to arrest you physically. It sounds absurd, but yes, this is happening in India and across the world.
Now, good morning, sir. Thanks so much for giving us your time. हम अभी बस यश से सुन ही रहे थे. We were just trying to understand how these digital arrests actually happen. Some are for 17 days. In our research, it came up. Some happened over 11 hours, some through several other days as well. But this is a very, very... how prominent is this problem? Can you first tell us?
Good morning, Sonal. First of all, this is a few cases have happened right now, but lot of attempts have also been made. I am personally aware of many such cases. The point is that there is no such thing as digital arrest in law. So the first thing anybody starts pretending that he is a cop and then sending you messages and also notices, all of them is fraud from the very beginning. This is one thing people should be aware of. The second thing is that I have seen those notices which are being sent. They will write Director IB, then National Cybercrime Coordination Center and CBI all in one.
Yeah.
No officer of the rank of director
Right.
in such cases.
I'll just come to the differences in a bit, sir. But you are saying that they are very, very make-believe. Imagine if you were to get a notice which just had a logo of the CBI and had like proper English. And now with Chat GPT, you can just ask them to write some really flawless English and they will present like a full notice how it is to be done. So it's easily available and for people to be exploited in that manner. But what I want to understand from you, sir, is ki if this happens to, say, you and I, is there a way in which I can differentiate and what should be my first port of call? Like you said, a lot of these arrest warrants that are given out or details that are flagged off or Skype calls or numbers, etc. How do we tell that this is not a real cop, this is fraud, this is a
See, one
scam?
important thing is that if you have not done anything wrong, then there is no reason to worry. See, what they exploit is your fear. You have not done anything. You are sitting in your house, and suddenly somebody tells you that your bank account or some contraband has been seized or something, some pornographic material. If you have not done anything, first of all, the law of the land will take care of you, even if they are genuine police officers
That's
or
good to
whatever.
know.
So the second is that you seek help immediately. If you cannot identify that this is a prankster or this is a fraudster who is doing it, you can talk to cybercrime helpline. You can talk to your lawyer. You can talk to somebody else. If you panic and start obeying, that is what they want you to do, so that you don't get help from anywhere. And then these notices, you are absolutely right that they have become smart. They are using flawless Hindi and as well as English. But still, there are some telltale signs, as I mentioned it to you, that if a genuine warrant is being sent on WhatsApp, then it must have the name and the telephone number and the unit from where it is originating, so that you can always verify the person concerned.
Okay, it'll have the number also of the concerned officer.
Yes, mobile number also, mobile number. But that is not 100%
Foolproof because they can put their
foolproof,
number
because they
also.
can,
Yeah.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
because they are calling from certain numbers which are also fake. The second thing is that you must understand that any amount which they ask you to transfer into some personal accounts, that is not the way police authorities or law enforcement officers seize your account. They seize it at the bank level. They don't ask you to transfer your money. So this is one important thing you should immediately understand, that a fraudster is trying to asking you to transfer your money in their account, which will never come back. They will say that after all the investigation, we will return the money, but it's never like that. This is
You're
not the
saying
way.
no cop will ever ask you to transfer money or even ask for your bank account. If they really have something against you, they will go and seize the account straight away.
Yes,
They don't need
exactly.
details from you.
They
Okay.
don't need.
Yeah.
They do it at the level of the police station, bank, directly from the bank. And then, as I mentioned, there is no such digital arrest. The arrest is always a physical process.
So just decode carbs for us. How much of it is good? And then we'll move on to if there are some alternatives.
The way you're saying it, I could see the excitement in your face.
It's breakfast time. I'm thinking of croissants and I'm thinking of some nice, like sort of focaccia bread and like doing all of that. So,
Right. So the excitement comes because we are thinking carbs as bad. And we are thinking carbs as, only processed food and processed sugars. So that's where the problem is. Carbs are not bad at all. We have been relying on carbs for multiple years together. It is just what kind of carbs that we are taking. There are two kinds of carbs, simple carbs and complex carbs. The croissant, the ice cream, the gulab jamun, halwa, all this are simple carbs. That gives you instant gratification, and that's why your bacteria in your small intestine and large intestine makes you crave for it. The other good carbs is complex carbs, where your body needs that to build your cells for your metabolism and everything, and also to make you healthy. So labeling carbs as bad is the biggest problem over here.
On TBC next is everybody's favorite, certainly one of my favorite. She remains ageless and how, she remains timeless and how. And if you weren't convinced about it, well, you have to hear her singing Miley Cyrus's latest song that won her a Grammy. Usha Uthup, welcome to TBC. So glad to have you here. Like I said, it is only you can transition from Koi Yahan Nache Nache to Miley Cyrus's Flowers. You have done it for so many decades now. How? How do you keep it so relevant and keep it so alive?
Well, first of all, let me say it's wonderful to be with you on CBC. Namaskar, namaskaram, sat sri akal, salam alaikum. I'm so excited to be with you. What can I say? Because this is such an important thing in my life, really. And I'm sure all of you would agree that, as you said, you know, decades, 54 years of singing some song like Fever and then California Dreaming and then, so many songs. And then suddenly you do Miley Cyrus's Flowers. But actually, it's not like that. I've always believed that a song is a song and it's timeless no matter what. And actually, retro is where it's at now. People all want to hear recall. And in my show list, it's always been that the older songs get more people more energized than the newer ones. Now, Flowers, and of course, songs with lyrics, okay? There was a time when I Will Survive was a breakup song for every girl, right? Gloria Gaynor's song. I was on my list, actually. In the batting order, it would have been third or fourth in the show. Then slowly what happened was, newer songs came, or I started singing Dawn 2 because I'd sung in that. Then I'd done Bulea. And of course, Dam Maro Dam and I Love You remain a constant, okay? It's always there. So when my daughter, Anjali told me, she just sent me a recording of what she had done, okay? Of Flowers. And I just thought it was such a marvelous piece of song.
Yeah.
That and she told me that, Amma, why don't you do it as well? So when Anjali told me about this song, I just thought it was such a brilliant piece of lyric, really. I just loved the lyrics. We were right till we weren't. That line just says so many things. Built a home and saw it burn. There are some songs that really give me goosebumps just thinking about the lyric, And then when it says, why do we depend on everybody else to do things for us or make us feel good? And this one is not really a breakup song. It's such a positive song of Nari Shakti, really. Nari Shakti, Stree Shakti, and woman power, really. And on this Valentine's Day, I would definitely say that it's not just for the women, it's for the men as well. Why do we need somebody else to buy us flowers? Why do we need that? Or why do we need someone else to talk to for hours? Why don't we do it with ourselves? And, there are so many positive feelings in this song that it just became marvelous. So it came onto my repertoire list for the shows about maybe 2 months ago. And whoever thought that she was going to get a Grammy for this, and my rendition would become viral, was really, really thankful and full of gratitude to my followers, and shall I say to my, not followers, to my supporters who've supported my music and loved me as I am.
Loved you, we all love you. And I'm actually loving how it's early in the morning, but you are all in your avatar. I'm loving the red on you right now. I'm also loving that red bindi. All of this is quite marvelous, like you said. But you've had quite a year, ma'am. You just got the Padma. Your songs are viral. I really want to understand, what is your mantra to keeping it relevant, to staying so enthusiastic about life and your love for music, even at this age?
My mantra is to be able to accept that you have to make time your friend, not fight with time. I think if you make time your friend and realize that the youth are the future of our whole life, without the youth, we're going absolutely nowhere. So I think that focus has to be there. And once you get that focus, that the youth, you are our future, then I think things, the jigsaw puzzle kind of gets neater, and you're not so puzzled anymore. Because I have noticed that even a song like Koi Yahan Aha Nache Nache, which was my song, Dekhte Dekhte, it's already 40 years since that song came.
40,
Or
imagine.
Ramba Ho. So one needs time for something to become a classic. And you can't become a classic just overnight. It's not possible. And so there are certain songs which even great composers like R.D. Burman and all were not appreciated in their time. But today, he's one of the most remixed and remixed, musicians of all time. And I think that is what it's all about. When you realize that and accept that a song is always bigger than the singer, because the song will keep coming back over and over again if you give it life. Whichever song it is. Like, how can something like, say, Hotel California, or Can't Buy Me Love, or I Can Get No Satisfaction, or all these old songs, how do they, they're all my contemporaries, okay? Almost all of them, the Beatles or Rolling Stones, or shall I say, some of them are much older than I, but their songs will live on forever, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is what is important, to realize that you are truly just an instrument to carry that forward to the future generation. And don't think of everything as I, me, myself. No, it doesn't happen like that. For a singer or for an artist, it's that song, whichever song it is and whosever song it is. Like if I sing in my shows these days, I still sing Ajeeb Daasta Hai Ye, and I make it a woman's song, and I say, it's ancient, the song, but everybody in my audience sings it along with me. And all the little twists and turns that I take when I'm talking to them, and or when I'm doing Bindiya Chamkegi, for example. I always say it's a woman's song. And, the lyrics before I start singing, I explain to them. But see, if you want something, you have to ask for it, whatever it is. Don't leave it to the other person. So if you say, Maine tujhse mohabbat ki hai, gulami nahi ki balma.
Back to back, really great performances for you. I'm not going to take any time. Let's cut across stage to Vanika. She's known as the Breakup Girl.
Yay!
And let's give her a shout out. Okay, Vanika, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So basically, जैसे उन्होंने बताया कि I'm called the breakup girl, which is a title that I don't like because I love falling in love. But मुझे लगता है कि जितनी बार मैं प्यार में पड़ती हूँ, उससे ज़्यादा बार मेरा ब्रेकअप हो जाता है. So इसीलिए आफ्टर अ लॉन्ग रिसर्च मैंने 3 आइडियाज़ निकाले हैं जिससे हम सिंगल लोग who go through heartbreaks a lot अपनी लव लाइफ को बेटर कर सके. तो सबसे पहले मैं ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि हम इंडियंस ना डेट नहीं करते, हम मोहब्बत करते हैं. और मोहब्बत में टूटता हमारा दिल है, लेकिन बिखर हम खुद जाते हैं. और इस बिखरे हुए दिल को समेटने के लिए आज मैं 3 आइडियाज़ लेकर आई हूँ आपके पास. सबसे पहले, इफ़ यू वांट टू गेट बैक इनटू द लव गेम, यू नीड टू स्टॉप थिंकिंग अबाउट योर एक्स. इसी के लिए, एंड आई नो इट कैन बी डिफ़िकल्ट, सो इसी के लिए मेरे पास एक कविता है आपके लिए जो मैं आज आपको सुनाना चाहती हूँ, जिसका नाम है तुम्हारा ख्याल. मैं अक्सर ये सोचती थी कि क्या तुम्हारे जाने के बाद मैं वो सारी चीज़ें कभी भी दोबारा कर पाऊँगी जो हम साथ में किया करते थे. और सच कहूँ तो तब ये सोचना भी दर्दनाक था, लेकिन आज मैं ये सब कर रही हूँ. मैं वो फिल्म अकेले देखती हूँ जिसके किरदारों में हम एक दूसरे को ढूंढा करते थे. मैं उस शहर में रहती हूँ जहाँ पर हमने हमेशा साथ रहने के वादे किए थे. मैं उस गली से गुजरती हूँ जहाँ पर हम एक दूसरे के साथ न जाने कितनी यादें बनाया करते थे. और सच कहूँ तो तुम्हारे बिना सब किया जा सकता है, सब आसान है करना. लेकिन जितना आसान तुम्हारे बिना ये सब करना है ना, उससे कई ज़्यादा मुश्किल है तुम्हारे ख्याल के बिना ये सब करना. मैं जहाँ पर भी जाती हूँ ना, तुम्हारा ख्याल मेरे पीछे पीछे आ ही जाता है. मैं तुम्हारे ख्याल से दूर जाने की कोशिश करती हूँ, उसे बताने की कोशिश करती हूँ कि तुम मुझसे अलग हो, अलग रहो, लेकिन वो फिर भी एक डीठ इंसान की तरह मेरे साथ साथ ही चलता रहता है. तो इसीलिए मैंने तुम्हारे ख्याल से रोक कर पूछ लिया कि तुम मेरे पास क्यों आते हो. तो उसने कहा कि जब मैं जन्मा आपसे था दीदी, तो मैं ख़त्म भी आप ही के पास होऊंगा ना। मैं ख्याल उसका हूँ, लेकिन मैं आपसे जुड़ा हूँ। इसीलिए मैंने तुम्हारे ख्याल के लिए अपने घर के ड्राइंग रूम में एक सोफ़ा लगा दिया और उसे वहाँ पर आके बैठने को कहा है। मुझे पूरा यकीन है कि एक दिन तुम्हारा ख्याल वहाँ पर बैठे बैठे बोर हो जाएगा, क्योंकि अब मैं उसे इग्नोर नहीं करती हूँ। वहाँ पर बैठे बैठे एक दिन वो बोर हो जाएगा और ख़त्म हो जाएगा, और जब मैं अपना काम कर कर लौटूंगी ना, तो मुझे पूरा यकीन है कि एक दिन तुम्हारा ख्याल मेरे पास नहीं होगा, और मैं उस दिन उस सोफ़ा पर बैठकर उसी शहर में एक फ़िल्म देखूंगी, और इस बार मुझे तुम्हारा ख्याल तक नहीं आएगा।
Oh man.
नहीं आएगा ख्याल, नहीं
was
आएगा
intense.
ख्याल.
हाँ.
That was intense. Because we need to stop thinking about our exes, and it can be difficult, but it is possible. I can vouch for that. और दूसरा जो टिप मैं आपको देना चाहती हूँ आज, that is just get back into the market. जाओ, meet people. Because it's so important that you keep meeting people, because recently I went on a date and it was very difficult. क्योंकि मैं जिस इंसान से मिलने गई थी वो वहाँ पे टर्न अप ही नहीं किया क्योंकि आई डोंट नो, घोस्टिंग इज सो कॉमन दीज डेज। पर पता है, हमारे इंडिया में ना बेवफाई की कमी नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी वफा उम्मीद की ईंटें लेकर दिल में घर बनाना जानती है। क्योंकि दैट डे व्हेन माय गाय डिड नॉट टर्न अप, आई फाउंड अनदर पर्सन हु केम अप विद अ बुक इन अ डायरी, एंड आई वाज लाइक, ओह, यू आर माय पर्सन। एंड इसीलिए आई वांट टू गिव यू माय थर्ड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट टिप, विच इज़ सेट योर बेयर मिनिमम। तो अगली बार आओ ना, तो अपने दिल में थोड़ी जगह लेकर आना। मोहब्बत फुर्सत से होती है, अपना थोड़ा वक्त लेकर आना। दिल लगी महंगी है काफ़ी, कर्ज पर ही सही, अपने साथ हिम्मत लेकर आना। अगली बार आओ ना, तो मुझे चाहने की चाह से पहले बस खुद को साथ लेकर आना। थैंक यू सो मच एवरीबॉडी। थैंक यू सोनल।
Thank you. My God, दिल तोड़ भी दिया, hope भी दे दिया, सब कुछ हो गया।
बहुत
Very,
intense.
very intense. But to break out of the intense is over to you, Siddharth. What have you got for us? Come on.
Hi everyone, hi. Happy Valentine's Day, or I like to call it National Unemployment Day. Also, I like to, ये दिन मेरे लिए बहुत important है क्योंकि बाकी couples को देख के मैं रात को जो सोता हूँ रोते रोते, हमेशा अच्छा फील होता है दोस्तों मेरे को। But I'm very honored to be here today because there are so many comics. There's so many comics. But our great host Sonal just wanted one thing, कि get me the most single comic, जिसमें बिल्कुल दर्द भरा हो, जो रोता हो, वैसा आदमी लेके आओ। And here I am, Siddharth Sudhakar, your favorite best friend and comedian. मैं आपको ये बताना चाहूँगा कि I've recently turned 30. We'll say recently is 2-3 साल. And being single at 30 is a little tough. Because dating before 30, it was easy. It was like Takeshi Castle, है ना? थोड़ा सा इस तरफ उस तरफ गए, enjoy किया. But after dating, you know, after 30, dating is more like Squid Game. कि कब therapy आए, कब जाए, कब trauma हो, पता नहीं चलता हम लोगों को. But you know, the most intense thing is कि after 30, you know, all my friends are married. And what is the most common thing that married people have? Sonal, what is the most common thing that married people have?
Fights.
Advice. They always have advice. अपनी शादी का उनको पता नहीं है, but बाकी लोगों के लिए उनको सब पता होता है, हमेशा पता होता है। और मैरिड लोग हमेशा मेरे पास आके ना एक ही चीज़ बोलते हैं, सिद्धार्थ, don't worry, there's a lot of fish in the sea. There's a lot of fish in the sea. और मैं उन लोगों को कहना चाहूँगा कि मछुआरे देखें कितने हैं। आपको पता है कितना टफ है? हाँ, सब डेटिंग ऐप पे बैठे हैं कि कुछ मिल जाए, कूड़ा मिल जाए बस। कितना टफ हो चुका है ये। एंड ऐसा नहीं, आई एम नॉट अगेंस्ट डेटिंग, आई जस्ट फाइंड डेटिंग टू बी वेरी टफ आफ्टर 30। क्योंकि देखो, डेटिंग नो इज़ लाइक वेयरिंग स्पेक्स। मैं आपको समझाता हूँ कैसे। सोनल, कब से लगा है चश्मा आपको? टीनेज। वानिका?
Almost 7-8 years.
7-8 years. दोस्तों, if you have specs or if you don't have specs, I'll let you tell you one thing, कि ना इन चश्मों पे स्क्रैच लगते रहते हैं, right? And you keep getting used to those scratches. And when जब आप नया चश्मा पहनते हो, then you go कि ओह, दुनिया HD में है, मेरे को इन स्क्रैचेस की आदत लग रही थी। और रिश्ते भी ऐसे ही होते हैं। आप एक रिश्ते में रहते हो और आपको पता नहीं चलता आपके साथ बुरा कितना होता रहता है, और जब ब्रेकअप होता है तो तब पता चलता है ओह दुनिया एक्चुअली बहुत HD में है. एंड लेट मी टेल यू फाइनल थिंग बिफोर आई गो इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ठीक है, और ऐसा नहीं है कि आई हैव नॉट बीन इन रिलेशनशिप्स. ठीक है, it's not that I've not been in relationships. Actually, I just got out of a 3-year-old relationship. Yeah. We reached a stage जहाँ पे हम एक दूसरे से बात करनी पड़ती थी. It's very tough. And we thought कि let's get everything back. Let's get the excitement back. So, we went on a trip because that's the best. We thought we'll get to know each other. And that's the problem. We got to know each other. जैसे मेरे को पता चला माई एक्स गर्लफ्रेंड शी लव्स गेटिंग फोटोग्राफ्ड. एंड उसने जब भी बोला मैंने फ़ोटो ली, मैंने कभी मना नहीं किया. हाँ, पीछे स्तूपा है फ़ोटो ली, पीछे वाटरफॉल है फ़ोटो ली, पीछे क्राइम हो रहा है फ़ोटो ली, मैंने कभी मना नहीं किया. द ओनली प्रॉब्लम इज मेरी एक्स गर्लफ्रेंड का एक ही पोज था और वो हाइट में भी छोटी थी, तो ऐसा लगता था छोटा सा मग्गा खड़ा है.